Good morning, KPMS.
7th graders will have PARCC testing every day next week, March 16th through 20th, and 8th graders will have PARCC testing every day from March 23rd through 27th.
So get a good night's sleep, eat a good breakfast, and be ready for testing during those weeks.
Because testing will use Mr. Allen's room each day, all of his classes should report to the library next week. Bring your news story scripts and other work to do.
Here are some PARCC test tips from Mr. Keogh, Mr. Jacobson, Miss Allen, Mrs. Longden, and Mr. Allen.
Good luck and do your best.
Good morning. As we get ready for PARCC testing next week, here are a few general reminders. Get a good night's sleep, eat a healthy breakfast, and be on time for school. Have a book to read at the end of the testing session in case you finish early. If you have any problems during the test, let one of the teachers in your room know right away. The bottom line is to try your best. Keep in mind that this is new for everyone, including the teachers. Our goal is to make you as successful as possible. Good luck in the next 2 weeks.
Good morning, KPMS. This is Mr. Jacobson here. Now, I know you don't see me too much on morning announcements, so enjoy this while it lasts, but I am here to talk to you today about PARCC testing. So real quick, checklist for PARCC, which is next week for 7th grade and 2 weeks from now for the 8th graders. Don't stress out. Simply get a good night's rest and a healthy breakfast. So no Xbox till 2 a.m., no Snapchatting till 2 a.m., go to bed early. Give your best effort every day of testing, that's all we can ask of you. Use every single second of the time allowed. If you're given 60 minutes, use all 60 minutes. Review your answers, double check your work, edit your essay or add more. Be quiet and on your best behavior, whether you are testing or not testing. And be patient with both the technology and your teachers. So for the writing sections, for the English language arts sections of the test, you'll be doing 3 writing components over the course of your 3 days. Narrative, analysis, and research. For the narrative, you have 60 minutes, along with some multiple choice questions, so probably about 4 paragraphs in length. Analysis, you have 75 minutes, so again, shoot for 4+ paragraphs in length. And the research is the longest, you have 90 minutes, so be sure you're writing at least 5 paragraphs, if not more. If you are not given a graphic organizer, use the scrap paper provided or the PARCC online notepad to make your own. Always be sure to plan out your writing beforehand. Now let's take a look at an actual online PARCC practice test. We can't give you the real test, so let's watch this screencast of a practice one. So since we can't show you an actual PARCC test, we're going to be working with one of the practice ones that you may have done in one of your English or math classes the past couple of weeks. So you're going to be asked to put in your name along with some codes during the actual test, but right now it's just the name. So we're going to look at some of the tools first, and then maybe some of the different types of questions you're going to come across when you take PARCC. So up here, we have your arrows. You use these to navigate from question to question. The story stays the same until you move on to a new story. That way you don't have to keep flipping back to the original story to answer the questions that go with it. So our first question, we're going to look at 5. You have review, in case you have answered, not answered, or flagged questions. Flagging a question is a great option if you didn't answer it, you were confused, or you just want to go back and check it. So if I look now, number 5 has been flagged, so I know before I submit any of my answers, that will show me that question was flagged. I should definitely go back and look at it. So if you notice down here, it's asking you to take phrases from the story and drag them into the boxes. Okay, that is something new because we couldn't do that in MCAS. So all we have to do is just drag them down. Number of boxes gives you the number of answers you should be doing. Our next type of question, I'm going to jump to number 9. Number 9 is asking you for which 2 details. So if it's asking you for 2, obviously you want to check off 2 boxes. If it asks you for all, check off all that you feel apply. So make sure you are paying attention to how many answers the question is asking from you. Let's jump over to number 10. Number 10 is interesting because it looks like it's blank, but it's asking you to select one paragraph from the article. you are only allowed to choose from paragraphs that are already highlighted in blue for you. So if you notice, if I want to pick right here paragraph 6 as my answer, I click on it once and it turns yellow. So that's going to be registered as my answer for this one. So make sure you are only choosing from paragraphs that are already highlighted in blue. Moving on to question 11. This is another type you might see. Here, it's asking you information from 2 different stories. Instead of having to flip back using our arrows, they gave us tabs right here. So here's Xenolith, and here's Collecting Rocks. So you have them both right here at your fingertips to look through whatever you need to do. Jump into question 15. It's another type. Again, this is another drag and drop. It's asking me for 4 key details, so I'm not going to use all 6. If it asks for 4, we should only provide 4. And also pay attention to if it's asking for an order. Maybe it's ordered by chronological, maybe it's a summary order, but if it says drop them in the correct order in the boxes, we definitely should be paying attention to that. So here's my boxes down below. I would just drag them on down. Question 16 is asking you to drag 2 pieces of evidence from the article into these boxes. So let's scroll through our story. Again, anything highlighted in blue is what you should be looking at. And if it's something you want as an answer, you click and drag it. It turns into a yellow box, and we can drag it over. If you don't want it, if you changed your mind, the little X gets rid of it. Okay. So you may be dragging evidence from the story into one of your boxes. That's something you do need to know how to do. And last type of question we are looking at is question 18. This is another drag and drop. As you can see, 6 answer boxes, 6 actual boxes to drag. Which ones are contributions, which one are effects. Make sure you are matching up the correct contribution not only with the group, but with its effect as well. So those are the different type of English language arts questions you might be seeing, but let's look at some of the remaining tools to help us answer those questions. So I'm going to go check on my review. As you can see, I've not answered a lot of questions. If you saw this on your PARCC test, you would have to go back and make sure all these were changed to green. See, answered now. Perfect. So what tools do we have to help us during PARCC? We talked about the arrows, we talked about reviewing and flagging. Up here is your pointer, is your normal mouse. If you want to type a notepad, you do have scrap paper with you. But if you want to type anything, you prefer typing, there is 1 notepad per question. So whatever I type in here for question 1, it's going to stay with question 1. Question 2 is going to be a different notepad. This is one of my favorite tools. It's your answer eliminator. You can use it to cross out answers you know are automatically wrong. This will help you narrow it down in case you don't want to look at too much information. Over here, instead of saying guest during the actual PARCC, this should say your last name. And next to this little person guy, you have a couple of different options here. We have a magnifying glass, in case you want to look at anything closer. We have a line reader. You are one of the type of people who likes to look at something paragraph by paragraph. This would be a perfect tool for you to focus on what it is you are reading. And last but not least, they call it answer masking. If you don't want to look at all the information at once, if you like to look at maybe 2 questions at a time, or 1 question, 1 answer at a time, this would be a good tool for you. Finally, we have highlighting. You click and you can change it to yellow, pink, or white. You can highlight single words. You can highlight whole sentences, paragraphs in the text, in the question. So if you like highlighting things, key information, vocabulary words, the highlighting tool would be excellent for you. if we jump over to one more English language arts that I want to take a peek at, for certain stories, they're going to help you with a dictionary. So if any texts you are reading has this gray dotted line underneath it, if you click on it, it'll give you the definition. So the abyss, if we scroll down to look at it, is a bottomless pit. So just in case you see that. And then let's take a quick peek at math, even though that is not my subject area. So very similar with the tools and the navigation, you are also given protractors to move around and measure your angles. You are given rulers, again, once to measure. You still have the answer eliminator. And on certain questions, you will be given an on-screen calculator. You will be provided with a calculator in person. You also have access to the on-screen calculator. Alright. Well, I hope you found this beneficial. You will all do fine next week, 7th graders, and the week after for 8th graders. All that we ask is take your time, don't stress out, be patient, try your best, and you will do just fine. Alright, KPMS. Adios.
Hi all, I'm here to talk to you about the math section of the PARCC. There will be 2 days of math PARCC testing. The first math section will be on Thursday and will be 80 minutes long. The second section of math will be on Friday and will be 75 minutes long. 7th graders, your calculator will be provided for you on both days of testing. Your teachers have gone over how you will use the 4-function calculator. 8th graders, you will be using the TI-30 calculators. You should all have your own, and you must bring this calculator Thursday and Friday of PARCC. Both 7th and 8th graders, you will be provided with 3 different kinds of paper during the math sections. You will receive plain paper, graph paper, and line paper. Do any work on this paper, but know that it will not be graded. Please read each question carefully and answer all parts of the question. Since this is a time test, make sure to answer all questions. If you know you will not finish, guess on the rest of the questions. Do the best that you can. We are proud of you for all the work that you have done in class so far. Keep it up.
What's wrong, Mustafa?
My parents are gonna kill me if I fail this PARCC exam.
Don't worry, you're a smart kid.
You'll be fine. Mustafa, what's wrong?
I'm just so nervous for this PARCC exam.
Oh, Mustafa, don't worry. There are plenty of tips and tricks to help you and all of our students ace the PARCC test.
Like what?
Let me show you, Jake.
Thanks.
So, let's say that we're starting the test right here. Yes, Brooke?
Mrs. Longden, can you show me how the test is set up?
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you come on up? First of all, you'll see on the left-hand side are the passages that you will be asked to close read and answer questions to later. As you can see, in the little box, you can also scroll down. Yeah. Make sure that you scroll all the way down and that you read the entire passage before you answer any of the questions. Now, as you're reading, if anything catches your eye, you can also highlight as you go. You highlight just by tapping your finger and scrolling it to the side. Then, it is fancy. Then you can highlight in red, yellow, or in blue. This can be particularly helpful if you have a question that asks you to refer back to the text. On the right-hand side is where we have our questions. The questions on the page will always refer to the passage that's on the same page as it. Do you get that a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Does anyone else have any more questions about PARCC? Alyssa.
What are the buttons on the top for?
I can explain. Come on up and I'll show you. Now these are the same buttons that you're going to find on the math exam as well. First of all, we have some arrows up here. Could you hit the little blue one for me? The arrows go back and forth between questions so that you can skip them or move forward whenever you're ready. You can go back as well. Yeah, so you can go through the entire test like that. The next button I find particularly helpful. It's the review button. Could you please click that? On the review page, you can see which questions you have answered, which ones you have yet to answer, and you are able to flag them for any questions that you think that you need to go back to. So can you please return to the question? Let's say that we're on part A of question 1 and it's just too hard. What can we do?
Flag it.
We can flag it. So please flag that question for me, Alyssa. Let's see what that looks like on the review page.
What else
So then you will never forget to go back to a question that was difficult for you. All right, please return back to the question. The next button that we have is simply the arrow, the little pointer. And once again, you can use that to highlight within the passages, just like that. The next, I also think is pretty useful, and you should definitely use it when you're working on the PARCC ELA test. It's the notepad. Can you click on the little symbol with the pen?
That?
Yeah. As you can see, a little notepad pops up, and it automatically saves anything that you're writing. I find that this can be helpful if you're making an outline before writing for an open response. Can you X out of that, please? The next button is, most of my students have said, is really useful when you're answering the questions for PARCC. Can you please click on it? This is called the answer eliminator. So let's say that you're going through this question and you know it's not A. You can click it. It eliminates the question. Let's say you know it's not B. You know it's not C. Then you can see it's a visual way of picking the answer that you think is correct. So in order then to choose D, you'll need to go back to the little arrow and hit D. Ooh, right? Nice. Are there any other questions?
Wait, I have a question. Those tabs on top of the box.
Which ones? These, Max?
No, but now that you mention it, yeah.
These two tabs actually are the two different passages that the open response is asking about. It's really, really convenient because you can go back and forth just by clicking on them.
How convenient.
Yeah. So if the question is asking you to compare the two passages, you want to make sure that you're going back and forth between the two, just like that. Are there any other questions? Yes, Logan?
Mrs. Longden, are there any open response questions?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there are. You'll find that there are several open response questions throughout the 3 sessions of the ELA testing. In fact, I have one right here that I can show you. Question number 7 you'll see is an open response. Make sure, first of all, that you read the question several times through so that you know exactly how to answer it. Secondly, your teachers have probably told you that the most important step in the writing process is... Can anybody tell me the answer?
Writing, no.
Planning out. Planning. Yes, it's planning out what you're going to write. You will be provided scrap paper prior to every session of the test, and you need to plan out what you are writing before you write.
And remember, even when you're finished with your PARCC test, there are no iPads or e-readers, no phones, iPods, you can't use the computers, and you can't even work on homework from any class that you finished testing on. The best idea? Take along some pleasure reading books. Get some homework done in a different class. And enjoy the relaxing time now knowing that you're done with the PARCC test. Good luck. Do your best.
Yeah, your teacher, she tells you don't worry about the test. She says you are ready, just focus and do your best. I know you won't be slacking or nagging, you know that's wrong. So if that's what you're into, just go on and move along. Because you know it's all about the park, no MCAS. It's all about the park, don't freak out. It's all about the park, please check it. It's all about the park, because you know it's all about the park, go MCAS. It's all about the park, don't freak out. It's all about the park, please check it. It's all about the park, because you know it's all about the park, clear MCAS. It's all about the park, don't freak out. It's all about the park, please check it. It's all about the park, Woo!